Hi guys, and welcome to our impromptu Q&A episode. This episode is brought to us by Audible.com, distributors of audiobooks and givers of free trials. You can get a free audiobook and 30-day free trial if you go to audibletrial.com/DSPN. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from, including lots of passive-aggressive self-help books to torture your family on road trips this coming holiday season. Again, that's audibletrial.com/DSPN for your free trial and free audiobook. And now let's get started.
Okay, let's get this thing started. Welcome, ladies. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome, non-binary folks. Welcome, sentient hams. Welcome, small penguins, large penguins, puffins, whatever you are. Welcome to this
Medium penguins can get fucked.
No fucking normal-sized penguins.
Medium penguins always have something to hide, and they are not welcome here. Welcome everyone else though to our Q&A.
Yay! Part deux.
Part duh.
Two.
Okay, part duh. So, we are here, the cast of Dames and Dragons, to answer those sweet, sweet Q's with some saucy, saucy A's. And we're just gonna leap right in. Should we introduce ourselves? I feel like it just feels unnatural not to.
I'm Noelle, and I'm playing Noelle.
And I'm Kat, your DM.
QM, the question master.
Yeah, QM. I'm your QM.
I'm Housemeat, and I'm playing Caitlin.
I'm Sophia, and I'm playing Housemeat.
Sick.
All right. Well, our first question comes from James D on Facebook. And James asks, where did the jokes about dumps go?
We all just stared at each other through the Skype window. Whoa.
Sophia got so upset she knocked her mic over.
I was really upset. James, they're there. You just have to listen. They're there.
You're not looking hard enough, James.
Listen with your heart, not your
Maybe
ears,
be a Patreon
James.
donor, because a lot of really amazing jokes get cut, and then there's little secrets. So probably... Are you a Patreon donor? Well, donate more. You'll get more dumb jokes.
Give
the
us
more you
money.
donate, the more dump jokes you get.
Yeah.
It's kind of our whole deal.
$1 per jump Patreon model we got set up.
For $500, we will write a custom dump joke for you and your friends and family.
For $1,000, we'll poop in a bag.
$5. You want it.
No.
Honestly, we'll do that to anybody who doesn't donate.
Yeah, actually, if
No.
you don't donate, that's what happens.
Well, all right. So let's move on. Savage Piss on Tumblr
Who's that?
asks, Savage Piss? Oh, it's a mysterious elven gentry who come to Earth through space. I don't know.
Whoa.
Hey,
It's Hannah.
I just have to throw this in. Hannah, I had a dream last night that you and I met Jareth from Labyrinth, and he was real. So you were there. It was really great.
Well, Hannah, who asks, so this has been on my mind for a while. Does Corbin actually make tea? Do I want to know what's in it?
Yes. And yes.
Well, what's in it? I want to know what's in it then.
It's one of those recipes that just kind of it is birthed from improvisation. So, he'll just kind of
It's
take
like
whatever he has on
jazz.
hand.
It's like The Cat Returns. It's your own special blend. It's a little bit different every time.
So, sometimes it's twigs. Sometimes it's dirt. Sometimes it's some twigs and dirt. Sometimes it's a piece of fabric.
Are there ever leaves? Does he ever use leaves?
Yeah, sometimes if he can
Does he
find
ever
some
use
leaves.
tea leaves?
No. No, that's
All right.
crazy.
Question answered.
Okay. And this one comes from Clovexy on Tumblr, our good friend Libby.
Limmy.
If our main characters went to college, what would they each have majored in?
I love this. Oh.
Football.
She'd be
Would
here
she,
on a
be on a football
Oh, yeah.
scholarship?
Yeah, she'd
And,
be making all the goals with the ball.
Okay, and she would have, majored in, general studies.
She'd major in football.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my mistake.
And by football, I mean soccer. I'm using the term.
Oh, because she would be in another country.
Yeah.
Caitlin?
Well, I want to say environmental studies, but that feels like a cop-out.
I feel like Corbin would have majored in astronomy because he thought it was astrology.
Yeah, that's a real possibility. He also
Isn't
might
that
be
what
that
Jenny
guy.
Slate did?
Yes.
He also might be that guy who tries to major in philosophy or logic because he thinks it's gonna be easy, and then it fucking sucks. But then also he comes through it wise and smart or something.
I think Mary would, and this is definitely a cop-out, but also the truth, she would major in religious studies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Fran would do some kind of science because I feel like a wizard is the science version of magic, you know?
Yeah.
It's you have to study it and experiment with it and stuff. And I guess it would probably be marine biology.
Yeah.
So
Surprising
there you go.
no one.
Yep. Yep.
But she would discover a new species.
What would Torva major in?
Oh, great question.
Ooh, Torva. See, I don't think Torva would be he'd be a professor.
Mhm.
He'd be the school president who makes $500,000 a year, and
That's true politics, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, he'd be the president of the school, and he would have a. Oh, Caitlin, how much does the president of Hamlin have for her wardrobe stipend?
That is a sweet $30,000 a year.
Yeah, so he would have a $30,000 wardrobe stipend.
Yep.
And he would also, and then he'd make impassioned speeches to the student body about how we're raising your tuition to increase the quality of your education.
Yep.
Mhm.
So anyway, moving on. Oh, so this is actually a question for me. So I'm going to read this and then answer it. So I guess I'll use a funny voice to read it.
Yes, please do.
Send it to me and I'll read it in Mickey Mouse voice.
I
Yeah,
don't know
okay.
about that.
No!
Don't listen. Don't do it.
It's too weird
This
for me
is
to read
wrong.
it to myself.
I'm taking my headphones off because I can't listen to myself while I do Mickey Mouse.
Oh my god.
Hey, all! I have a question about Mary. Is her sign language a creation of her own? To be able to communicate? Or did Esther have its own version of sign language? Is it similar to ASL?
I hated that, for the record.
Oh boy.
I tripped up. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So, the question that is being asked, I will answer it now.
Okay.
Yeah, so yes and no. Estra does have its own version of a sign language. However, that's not what Mary uses. Because Mary was isolated from everyone by her attendants, her sign language is something that she made up so that it would be easier for her to communicate. And it has sort of since evolved into a more sophisticated sign language.
Are you suffering from high-quality podcasts? You see, quality podcasts stimulate parts of your brain, leading to an irksome condition called thinking. But suffer no more, my friend. Introducing Discount Storytime's blend of fictional nonsense and rancid gibberish to provide soothing relief. Try Discount Storytime today. Available on most podcast catchers and at discountstorytime.com.
Consult your healthcare provider before listening to Discount Storytime. Not intended to treat unicyclitis, pickleball liver, or jittering expectations.
So,
And it's based on the hand movements for spells, right? That's
Yes.
why Corbin and I could understand it.
yeah, exactly. Because spells in the universe I've created, spells are kind of like their own have their own hand language. So Mary has tapped into that and, used it to create a fairly easy to understand sign language. And also magic.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
So, next question is from Alicia Marie on Facebook. And Alicia Marie asks, I am having trouble getting people to play a campaign with me. I have a DM and myself, but I'm struggling to find others. Many say they're interested and then never show up. Do you have any advice for assembling a reliable crew?
Blackmail.
Start a podcast.
I was going to say, just scattershot approach, just whoever you can get to show up and do a bunch of short, one shots or a campaign that maybe you're okay putting down when everybody stops showing up. But from that, you will get at least 3 people who will sit down and make a podcast with you.
Very
That's
true.
how I do
I
it.
think the key
Yes.
too is to get people through character creation, which I found getting people into D&D is the biggest hurdle. So if you can get a group of people through character creation and have them start playing the game, you'll have people who like D&D. But that's been the most difficult thing is people are like, what do you mean I have to roll dice? And I can't.
Well, it's very intimidating. I did not enjoy my first character creation. And especially when you don't know what anything you're doing means yet because you've never played.
Yeah.
But a couple people, just because they didn't do their character creation that we played with our first time, just used pre-made ones and kind of made it their own in a certain way, And your first time, I would honestly just recommend doing that because then you won't do everything wrong and have a paladin who can't fight like what I did.
I do think character creation helps you figure out why certain things are the way they are, though. I agree
That's
that
true,
it's confusing.
but I would do it the second time you play.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, maybe do a test run where everybody
Yeah.
does a pre-made sheet for a couple rounds and then have people make their own character for experience.
And that's actually where the 5e starter kit comes in really handy because that has some pre-made characters that you can just grab and go, and it has an adventure that really walks you through the basics of D&D. There's this thing that they talk about a lot in designing adventures, which is the 3 pillars of gameplay. And if you can get your players through kind of all 3 pillars of gameplay, which are role-playing, fighting, and exploration. And if you can get through all 3 of those things, which the box set of D&D is very good at doing very quickly, you can kind of hook them in and figure out what people like best, and that really helps you build a game that is going to captivate your players.
The other thing too is if you're having trouble getting people together in person, yes, it is more fun to play in person in my opinion, but playing over Skype or playing over Roll20 is completely, I think, really fun too, and it works very well. And I think people are a lot more likely to actually come if they don't have to drive somewhere or find a ride somewhere.
Though, if you need to encourage people to show up to your house or wherever, can always have delicious snacks.
Yeah, free food is a
Yeah.
huge incentive.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right. If they're vegan, you can secretly feed them meat and take pictures of it and blackmail them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think blackmail is
so
really...
then they'll have to always come back.
Blackmail is the takeaway here. Maybe you have them, you commit a murder and you help, they cover it up and then, you're like, oh, well.
You guys are complicit.
Yeah, you're complicit, so...
Oops.
Whoopsie.
Uh-oh. Guess we're kind of gonna go on a quest now.
In D&D.
Yep, D&D.
So I think we answered that to Alicia Marie's satisfaction.
I'm satisfied. Have you ever been playing D&D and it's goblins again and you're like, oh, why is it goblins again? It's the same old goblins. It's not even a different type of goblin. Will I ever fight anything other than a plain goblin with a regular style sword? Well, thanks to Kobold Press's 5e Creature Codex, sequel to the Tome of Beasts, you will. Cobalt Press has just launched their Kickstarter for the Creature Codex, which brings more than 300 new monsters to 5th edition D&D, including Lotus Golems, Wasteland Dragons, and Shadow Goblins. That's right, new goblins who serve the Shadow Fae. Shadow Goblins. If that's not enough to get you interested, then get this. All backers of the Creature Codex can submit their own original monster design for possible publication. You can make as many different kinds of special goblins as you want. High-level backers can even commission Cobalt Press to illustrate and design their monster idea. The Kickstarter runs until January 5th, 2018, so get on it. Go to Kickstarter to become a backer of the 5e Creature Codex from Cobalt Press. The link is in the show notes of this episode.
All right. Here's a question from a well-known Tumblr user, Anonymous. Very important question. Which characters from the DreamWorks Extended Universe, TM, would you say Fran, Leica, Corbin, and the Goddess are most like, respectively? Torva is Ovs. Barry B. Benson.
I fucking know this is you, Hannah.
Could be Libby.
It's Hannah. It
Are you
came in
sure?
directly after Hannah's ask. I know it's Hannah.
I think Fran is the boss baby. I haven't seen that movie, but I think it's true.
I think that is accurate. I think that's accurate.
I think Corbin is, I think, the donkey from Shrek.
That's fucking rude.
But true.
What about Miguel?
No.
No.
The donkey.
Yeah. You
The
guys are
donkey from
jerks.
Shrek.
You guys are jerks.
Definitely the donkey from
Yeah.
Shrek. Leica is
Like a Shrek.
Yeah,
Shrek.
like a Shrek.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm the baby boss.
Who's the goddess?
Prince of Egypt.
Nailed it.
Yes.
Moses.
Moses.
She's Moses. Awesome.
Honestly, not a bad
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaylin,
Yeah.
that is fair.
That's a deep cut. I like that.
Who's her brother? Phelan's Ramses?
Phelan.
Yeah.
Phelan's
Yeah.
Ramses.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that works perfect.
All right.
Right on.
Well, we will have. Let's have another question from that old Tumblr. This is from This Belongs to No Bodies.
Mhm.
If you had to re-roll your characters, what would you make?
Oh, I liked this question. I remember seeing this one. I think after playing like a wizard for a long time, I think I would make just like a straight up fighter or like a barbarian maybe. Just because it's fun to switch it up. When you are like a fighter type, even if you're like a paladin, you watch the wizards and you're like, you don't know what you have, you fucking asshole.
I want to be a wizard so bad.
Girl, I know, because I was in your shoes for a long time. But then, like, when you are a wizard, you're constantly paralyzed by indecision because you have so many options at your disposal. If I had to make a new character right now, I would just make a fighter whose response to everything would be like, I throw my sword. That would be it. That would be the voice.
I actually really like playing a druid, and I don't necessarily I wouldn't necessarily want to reroll, but if I had to, I'd reclass as a monk because I remember when we played with one of our old friends who was a monk, and he caught an arrow in midair and
I think her
also
character was broken.
killed
y'all.
somebody.
Oh,
yeah, but
monks they do just so much damage. Sophie, do you remember when we were in high school, there was one guy in our D&D group who made a monk out of a monster race that was like an insect that had 4 arms, and he got 2 attacks for each arm. So he got 8 attacks per round.
I mean, that seems fair to me. It seems...
That's the most genius, amazing thing I've ever heard. Can we
so
fight his
good.
character?
If I can somehow recreate it, he was one of those guys who really just enjoyed creating game-breaking characters. So
The punches will have to do 1 damage or we'll die, but we do need to fight.
Anyway, I got Sophia. What would you re-roll as?
a wizard, a sorcerer, any kind of magic. I just want to be covered in magic. Also, though,
Nice.
a bard.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I probably would be a bard. I forgot that bard was a class.
I think we should all say we'd be bards.
Caitlin, would you be a bard? Would you?
I actually would be a bard. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I would re-roll as a bard, but okay. Let's see. Oh, here's another one that's for me. Caitlin, do you want to read it in Mickey Mouse voice again?
Yeah, send it
Can
to me.
I read it as another person?
Yes.
I'll read it as Mickey Mouse.
No.
Let
I'll
Noelle
read it as
read
someone
it.
else.
Let me read it, Kat.
Who should I read it as?
Do Titus from Final Fantasy X.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I don't know how to do that. But I'll try. Here we go. I just remember the part where he says, out of the frying pan and into the freezer. And he's always like, jacked. Okay. This is from Brandon on Facebook.
This is, by the way, this is Brandon the Mandan.
The Mandan himself. Will you use listener-created Dashing Dawson magic items from the Patreon sometime in the future? Does my dad love me? Is he the devil? I don't know, Brandon.
Very good.
I don't know. We can't answer those last questions, but I can answer that yes, we will be using those. I just sort of have Arc 3 has an interesting arc for Dashing Dawson. Let's put it at that, and we'll leave it at that. But once he appears again, he will have some beautiful Patreon-inspired items for our listeners.
We'll
Hold on.
see. He was in the Temple of Eol when Torva attacked it, so he's probably fucking evil, or he's dead.
Yeah.
If we
Well
have to
said.
rescue Dashing Dawson, I'll die. Anyway.
If we have to rescue Dashing Dawson, I won't.
All right, moving on. Oh, shit, it's another question for me. I'm sorry, everyone.
Can I
loves
read
me.
it? Yeah.
Wilson voice
Okay.
only.
Yeah. Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson.
I also can't do Owen Wilson, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
You do a great Owen
thanks.
Wilson.
You're good at it.
So this is from Clovexy on Tumblr. Wow! Of the NPC voices you have done, which has been your favorite? Wow!
The NPC voices I have done, which one's been my favorite? That would be the Artificer, Artie. I love making robot voices every day.
Yeah, that one is so good.
And I can also tell you my least favorite voice, and it's Zaroon, and it's a mistake that I live with every day.
It's really good though. Like
It is
it's
a good ass voice.
It's a
It's
great
like-
voice, but it's so hard for me to do. It is like the opposite of what my voice naturally wants to do.
I wish you sounded like that all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
I wish I did too, because I think that'd be amazing. Especially because I work customer service over the phone, so like that would just be ideal. The 50 calls I answer every
Yep.
day.
Yeah, it's true.
I should start doing that. I should start answering in my silly character
Or
voices.
accents, like be a British person.
I used to do that at Target.
Nice. Learning some real truths.
I love it.
Here's the real truth is that you can't have 4 Minnesotans on a Skype call and have none of them work at Target. Like, one of them has worked at Target in the past.
And one of
That
them
is true.
will work at Target. Again.
In the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Cilantro Haters on Tumblr.
I
If
love it.
If Corbin,
Don't
Fran,
love
Love it.
if Corbin, Fran, Leica, and Mary were living in modern times, what do you think they would be doing, and how would the gang be? Would they all be high school jocks, class reps? Thanks so much. So this is kind of a continuation on the college
But
question.
it's so good.
This is what I was born
to
for.
answer.
Yes.
Okay, so this is high school AU, is what we're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
the
yeah.
high school
Oh, yes.
AU.
Asking if Fran would be a jock is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard.
I think Fran would be in
Fran-
the theater department.
That's
Yes.
that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because illusions. Yeah.
Also, though, like science club.
Yeah, she would be like in like the decathlon
Oh,
and in like
yeah.
the chess club. But she
She'd
would
be-
pretend she wasn't. Like she would be the kind of nerd that I was, which was like the kind of nerd that I was like, I don't watch anime, I'm not an idiot. Like but I like did nothing but watch anime. Like I literally couldn't be found doing one other activity. So I think that's what kind of person Fran would be. And also she would be like some kind of water boy for like the main sports team of the school, so she could be close to the hotties.
Yes. Love it.
Corbin would be that kid who's like, first of all, never showers.
Oh,
is
yeah.
super, super greasy.
Mhm.
Like, nobody likes him, but he's completely unaware. Like, he has no fucking idea of social, like, norms or, like, where the cliques are or anything. And everybody thinks, like, they kind of think that he's, like, stoned all the time. And, like,
Yeah.
a bunch of people always go to him asking for weed, but he just, like, doesn't know because he's just like that. Like, that's just how he is.
I have another plot element to add. I think Fran and Corbin would hate each other and be best friends with the same teacher.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Leica would be best friends with Corbin, and she would be really afraid and
Absolutely.
intimidated by Fran. I think she would be also a water boy and maybe like didn't start out good at sports, but was like a water boy because she wanted to be on the sports team.
I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like Leica would be on the lacrosse team.
I feel like if she was brave enough.
She's too strong. And she's also tall, so you know that like there would be coaches begging her to be on the basketball
She'd probably
team.
be on the basketball team.
Yeah, you know she's on the basketball team.
But you know she'd be best friends with Corbin, and they'd be like sitting at a lunch table, and they'd be like, Fran seems really cool, right?
yeah, and I'd be like, you guys are losers and I have no friends, like MJ from Spider-Man.
They'd be sitting at the same table alone.
Yeah.
Corbin would like leave notes, like mean notes in Fran's locker all the time.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh.
And Fran would like bully Corbin probably, so it'd be fine.
Oh yeah.
Leica would leave love notes, I think, in both their lockers.
Is Mary the teacher that we're best friends with?
No, I think Mary is the exchange student who comes in
Aw.
during junior year and like she doesn't speak the language, but she gets assigned these 3 nerds as her like school guides
Aww.
because you guys are all in the same like language class that she's,
Aw.
you know, from.
Brings us together.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Wow.
There it is. High school AU. Fanfic writers, go have at it. I want to read this.
I'm desperate to read it.
Yeah.
Please.
Somebody write me a fanfic. I swear to
You guys
God.
keep asking us about fanfic, and we just haven't seen a fanfic.
Yeah. Don't ask if you're not offering.
Okay. Oh, this one is from Rob Martini. I think it's pronounced Rob Martini, but it's Rob Martine 3E. I don't know. It's on Twitter.
Mm.
Rob asks, I've binge listened to the first 12 episodes in the last 5 days. Now I constantly make non sequitur asides to myself out loud in Leica's voice. My question is, how can I stop? No spoilers. So, Sophia, how do you stop doing Leica's voice?
No spoilers, Sophie.
Oh, God, no spoilers.
Do not give a
No.
spoiler
Yikes,
when you answer this
yikes,
question.
No spoilers.
Do not.
Everybody dies, season 3.
Oh,
shit, fuck.
Sophie!
Fuck. Oh,
Sophia!
Sophie!
Fucking damn
just
it.
let me backtrack. Don't stop. Just embrace it. Let it become your natural voice. Like we were saying with Kat and Zaroon, people want to hear something unique, and I don't think most people sound like they chain smoke from the day they were born, and that's good. Just like go for it.
Can I ask one thing that I'm just interested in?
Yeah.
So it is regarding. Did you guys see? We got tagged in a post on Tumblr that was like about characters who don't advance the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like
I
so
remember
that they can
post.
like act in character. And most of the post was basically like, I fucking hate it. Like, don't tell me your character is doing anything. And then the person that tagged us was like, if you want to see an example of this that like I don't think was annoying, listen to Dames and Dragons, and like particularly Fran oftentimes acts against what the DM obviously wants her to do. And I was just interested to like hear your guys' thoughts on that. Like, do you think there's a difference when you're doing a podcast versus when you're just playing? Is there like a scale of when that should be? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you're saying. And I think it really boils down to if you're doing something because you want to make yourself the center of attention, or if you're doing something because you want to make other people laugh.
That's true, yeah.
Like sometimes those things do intersect, but a lot of the examples that we get of really disruptive players, people who are creating characters that are chaotic evil in an lawful good party or something like that, where it just doesn't work. A lot of the times that just comes from a place of wanting to be the center of attention at the table, which that's good, and that's not good, and you should never do that, because it's a collaborative storytelling game. Like, that's just very counter to the idea of D&D. And not to say that a chaotic evil character in a lawful good party can't be super fun. I can see lots of ways that could work, but I think the difference is when you do stuff, Noelle, it's more coming from you want to make an interesting character choice that makes people laugh. And for me as a DM, that's much easier to work with and work around. And also, I set up Avalis in such a way that people around you just don't really want to interact with you if you're doing some crazy shit. They'll just be like, not my business, and walk away. So, like, that's how I manage it.
Not gonna ruin my day.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about it because, like, I mean, not that, like, Fran is really the most disruptive character in the world, but I probably wouldn't play Fran, or at least I wouldn't play her the way that I do play her, like, in a regular campaign. Like, at least in, like, certain moments where it's, like, you do something and it's going to be funny and it's going to be an interesting story, but if you were actually playing D&D just to play, everyone around you would be like, oh my fucking God, can you stop? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, too, that there's, like, a difference between playing, like the person said, a disruptive character and being a disruptive player. Because I feel like you get characters, too, that are, like, I remember Hannah used to tell me she had DM'd for a group of people who, like, were a bunch of dudes, and every 5 seconds they'd be like, oh, I put my dick in it. And then it's just kind of like, well, your dick gets chopped off. Like, sorry. But, like, that's the kind of person that I would consider, like, the most disruptive kind of player, because they're doing something that, like, their character probably wouldn't do.
Right.
And they're just doing it for their own weird, sick laughter.
Caitlin, have you listened to our podcast? Because we do put our dicks in, like, a lot of things. So
That's
okay.
True. That's true.
It's different. It's different. Like, it's different when you do it once or twice versus when it's, like, something that you do every single time that the DM tries to get you to play along with the story. You know what I mean?
Right,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
and that sort of thing it's an example of putting the DM in a really shitty position of either you have to follow through on the consequences of your actions, which then pisses off the player because, like, your dick gets chopped off, or you are a pushover and mold your story to make the consequences go away, which also sucks because then the player, you know, someone who's really just doing it for shits and giggles is just going to keep doing it.
I feel like that example, though, too, is also, like, that sounds to me like people who are very uncomfortable with role-playing.
yeah.
Like, they don't know what the fuck to do, so they're like, let me make, like, the worst joke in the world. Because I'm, like, all of a sudden I have to do something and think of something creative to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my real life true love solution for this problem. Just execute them. Just kill them.
The person?
Yeah, the person.
Yeah.
Just reach across the
And then-
table and strangle them.
And, you know,
Yeah.
this solves a lot of problems because not only do you then, like, get rid of the problematic player, but everybody else in the group is now complicit in the murder. So they have to keep playing D&D.
Yeah, so you
back
can get
to
them
our
to
earlier
keep coming.
question.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
I have a question.
Yes, Sophie.
If you guys had to date a character on the podcast, who would you
A great
date?
question. Let me think.
Caitlin, what the hell is that reaction?
Nobody. They're all crazy.
You gotta pick one.
I mean, the only thing I care about in somebody I date is kindness, so it probably would be like or Mary.
The goddess.
Yeah. So the only kind people in the
Yeah.
podcast.
I would date Shaw.
Whoa.
That's fair.
He's in my age range. Probably.
That's fair. If they were in my age range.
This got weird. Never mind. Forget this question.
No. You have to answer it now.
I said the goddess.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? I didn't hear you. Sorry.
My answer is Swan Roxon, the sexy assistant that you guys met in the Wizard's Workshop on
Oh,
a
good
ship.
choice.
Wait, can I date Artie?
Oh, that's a
yeah.
great answer.
I guess,
Oh,
yeah.
good choice.
It's Artie.
I would date Torva, and I would be like Cecilia, and I'd turn against him and tear down his
I think I would
organization.
date Artie and the goddess.
Oh, I would date Vioni too, actually, because she could turn into anything I wanted. She could turn into like a super, like, sexy bombshell.
I don't want to know.
It's the worst thing I've ever heard.
She could turn into Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica. Can you fucking imagine that?
But you know what? If she had a sense of humor, which we don't know that Vioni does, she could also like turn into like Mickey Mouse at like the worst time possible.
Well, that's true. I would have made my bed and I would have to lie in it. And it would have Mickey Mouse inside of it.
Would that disturb Caitlin? She seems very into Mickey Mouse.
His eyes couldn't lie.
All right. So this question comes to us from Sebastian on Facebook. And it is, will Hannah Culbert's character be making a return appearance in the next arc? Oh, please say yes. Please, please.
Hannah, I know this is you.
Hannah, how many questions can you send in?
Hannah, just find your boundaries.
Listen. Hannah Culbert's character will make a reappearance when it is thematically appropriate for it to happen, and when the players make the correct choices, which will allow that to happen, and only then will Hannah Culbert grace us again.
Spoiler alert, probably if we go to Madria. That's what we've been told. And we're very aware of it because we want Hannah to be back on the show. So it's as soon as possible.
Yeah. Although it all does depend on like plot hooks too. So
Right.
But
Like if Kat does anything to Mary, we're all going to die. So the
yeah, we
podcast
got
will
our
end.
eyes on Madria in
But
case Mary doesn't
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cat knows.
Kat, no. Don't
Don't you kiss.
keep them inside.
Put 'em back in.
Kat.
Kat is
back.
blowing just a lot of kisses right now, and that's what she always does when we want to know anything about our show.
Or just any questions you have to Kat.
It was audible. That was a
Yeah.
good one.
Let's hear it one more time.
Nice. All right.
Good.
All right, our final question comes from many people everywhere, but specifically Irel, Clovexi, and several anonymous Tumblr users. And the question is, who do you ship?
Well, the thing about that is...
Hey, it's your pal Mike Shea from the website Sly Flourish and author of the books The Lazy Dungeon Master and Sly Flourish's Fantastic Locations. I'm going to be hosting a brand new show on the Don't Split the Podcast network called the DM's Deep Dive. Each month, I'll be talking to a member of the D&D community about a particular topic of the game like encounter design, tools for improvisation, and game pacing. You can subscribe to the show through iTunes, on Twitch, or on YouTube. Join me, and we'll all work together to make our games fantastic.